Welcome back to Albany, where we're ready for the 10th-seeded Auburn Tigers versus the 3rd-seeded Orangemen from Syracuse. The winner of this game takes on Oklahoma, who defeated Butler in our first game of the evening. Syracuse coming in with a 26-5 record, and their best player, only a freshman, Carmelo Anthony from West Baltimore, Maryland. And for Auburn, 22-11. They finished 8-8 in the SEC. And they have come on strong in March, defeating St. Joe's and upsetting 2nd-seeded Wake Forest. And we're underway from Albany. Syracuse controlling the toss. What should we pay attention to early in this game?
Well, Syracuse wants to play up tempo. This is a team that averaged 80 points a game, and they certainly want to get it inside because they've got some guys that can really do some damage. Hakeem Warwick just there.
Hakeem Warwick with his 76th dunk of the season, and he is a high riser.
And if you're Auburn, what you want to be able to do, you want to minimize your turnovers, control the tempo.
Tigers turn it over. McNamara, the freshman from Scranton, into the front court. And here's the guy they want to get off early, Queth Duaney.
Well, Queth Duaney is the senior leader for that team, but also recognizing Syracuse is 20-1 when he scores in double figures.
And he gets off to a good start. Queth Duaney, the native of the Sudan.
And when Duaney is scoring, that means that Carmelo Anthony, the fabulous freshman, is getting some help.
Syracuse with their patented 2-3 zone. How do you beat this zone?
Well, you're going to have to really move the ball, extend it, look for the gaps to drive against, and also try to get a guy on the high post who can turn and face and pick the back line apart.
Marquise Daniels off the mark, but Craig Forth is called for goaltending.
Again, we talk about how important Queth Duaney is. He's a guy that's got the capability of hitting threes as well as flash to the basket. When he's on his offensive game, he's taking a lot of pressure off the freshman, Carmelo Anthony, and Jerry McNamara.
Here's Carmelo. Wants to be more patient on offense. Duaney, 2 in a row. Back-to-back threes for Queth Duaney.
And right now for Syracuse, it couldn't work any better. In the 2-3 zone, you take a look at Marquise Daniels. He keeps flashing at that high post. He's got to be the guy that's going to make things happen, but he's got to be able to get the ball.
McNamara catch and shoot. Bumped on the release, and it's rebounded by Killingsworth. Syracuse 3 for 4 to start this game. Daniels again. And it's tracked down in the corner by McNamara. Duaney hangs in the air, banks it home. 8 points for Queth Duaney, the senior. Auburn needs a timeout. They wanted to get Duaney off early, and they have. Syracuse with an 8-point lead.
Again, Queth Duaney so important. He's a leader on this team, and once again, the seniors lead by example. Found open opportunities and has made the most of them. And it's been his movement without it. It's been the ability of his teammates to find him. And again, here we talked about him being able to shoot outside. Well, he can slash to the hole as well. When Queth Duaney gets going, you know, he's difficult to stop. You focus on him, and now it makes it easier for Carmelo Anthony, Jerry McNamara, Hakeem Warwick, and the rest of the Orange crew.
The 45th player in Syracuse history to score 1,000 points. He averages 11 points per game. 17:32 to go here in the first half. Syracuse up 10-2.
Well, again, right now, Cliff Ellis, good call on a timeout. He's got to get his guys focused now.
The Auburn Tigers out of the SEC advancing to the Sweet 16. They were given an at-large bid, and a lot of other schools around the country, most notably Seton Hall and Boston College, they weren't too happy with Auburn getting into the league, into the tournament with an 8-8 record.
Well, that's all past history right now. Auburn in the Sweet 16, you know, they've acquitted themselves very well. Today, though, they have to understand that for all intents and purposes, this is an away game. Overwhelmingly, Syracuse fans, they're in the Syracuse part of New York State, and it's going to be a question, as Cliff Ellis told us, of his guys taking the same energy that they bring on the road at Kentucky, at South Carolina, and some of the other tough places to play in the SEC, and bring that attitude right here.
Different story for Syracuse, finishing 13-3 in Big East play, receiving an at-large bid with a 26-5 overall record. Their two first-round games, in the first couple of rounds, defeating Manhattan and defeating Oklahoma State. Welcome back to Albany, our second game of the evening. Syracuse and Auburn, and it's been the Queth Duaney show early on for Syracuse. He has 8 of their 10 points.
And that absolutely has to be the game plan for Syracuse. They've got some terrific freshmen in Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara, but it's Duaney that makes the difference.
Monroe tossing it at the basket. This Syracuse team is 20-1 when Duaney scores in double figures, and they got him off early.
And he's been the difference, again, finding open spots. His teammates have played with him, finding him on the perimeter, and then when you think he's just a shooter, he's been able to slash to the basket, play some pretty good defense, get some deflections, and at the end of the day, again, Queth Duaney takes a lot of pressure off the young guys of Syracuse.
2 threes for Duaney. Now Carmelo Anthony into the front court. McNamara catch and shoot, too strong. Rebounded by Brandon Robinson.
And for Auburn, the last time out that they called, I'm sure it was kind of settle the team down, recognize that they're, for all intents and purposes, are playing an away game, and they've got to be able to get their energy, create their own energy and focus.
Here's Robinson inside, and he lays it in.
Talk about some physical play right there. They're losing the ball and losing his footing. Unfortunately for Kyle Davis, it's okay.
Duaney having it stripped away and stolen from behind. Brandon Robinson. So Auburn 22-11. They finished 8-8 in SEC play. They defeated St. Joe's in the first round, then upset second-seeded Wake Forest in the second round. Bird, the young man from Ypsilanti, knocks down a jump shot.
And you can tell that timeout really settled Auburn down. They got focused defensively, created some turnovers, and now they're starting to feel more comfortable on the offensive end against the 2-3.
Anthony off the dribble, rises. (10-7) Syracuse off to an early and great start. Duaney in the corner. Queth Duaney has 8 of their 10 points, but Auburn has settled down, Len.
Well, they certainly have. Cliff Ellis called a timeout a few minutes ago after Syracuse went on a nice 10-2 run. And again, defensively, they've been able to settle down a little bit. They've been able to attack that 2-3 zones. But if you get the transition game with Syracuse, you got to be aware of guys like Jerry McNamara pulling up in the open spots and dropping threes. Syracuse wants to play an up-tempo game. They average 80 points a game.
The winner of this game will take on Oklahoma, who defeated Butler earlier this evening. Ball knocked out of bounds, last touched by the Tigers. 14:48 to go. Back right after this. Welcome back to Albany, New York. Syracuse with a 12-7 lead, a 3 versus a 10. The winner of this game will take on Oklahoma, who defeated Butler in our first game of the night. McNamara, Warwick, Ford, Duaney, and Anthony. Here's McNamara, the freshman from Scranton, Pennsylvania. going to the basket and draws the foul. And the Auburn Tigers have played with a lot of poise in this tournament. Their first 2 games, they defeated St. Joe's and then upset second-seeded Wake, 68-62, holding All-America Josh Howard to only 14 points on 4 of 10 shooting. And Len, a lot of teams in the country, most notably Boston College and also Seton Hall, didn't approve of Auburn getting in with a soft non-conference schedule and an 8-8 mark in SEC play.
Well, whether that's true or not remains to be seen. It doesn't matter now, and Auburn's done a great job representing their conference and their school. They're here in the Sweet 16. You know, they've got a chance to go to the regionals, and it's going to be about them executing, not about what their record was or what their strength of schedule was a couple of weeks ago.
Davis has it stripped. Duaney to the basket, pivots, leaves it for fourth. Warwick with the rebound and a foul. For those of you expecting to see Michigan State versus Maryland, we will get you to that game shortly. Tip time is 10:17. So Hakeem Warwick, a sophomore from Philadelphia, got Syracuse off to a great start as he jammed down the first basket of the game. He has 75 dunks this year, make it 76. And in the first 2 rounds, 10-5 versus Manhattan, 11-6 versus Oklahoma State.
And Hakeem Warwick, the most improved player in the Big East, last year averaged 6 points and 5 rebounds. This year, 15 points, 9 rebounds. And you talk about offensive rebounding, Syracuse very capable of crashing the boards. They had 30 offensive rebounds versus Connecticut earlier this year.
Syracuse very effective on the fast break. They're on an 8-0 run on fast break points.
And again, that's what Syracuse wants to do. Get up and down. They want to make this up-tempo.
Anthony with the steal. Pulls up from 17 feet. Rebounded by Robinson. He has it knocked out of bounds.
And that may be the one criticism of Carmelo Anthony, and he'll grow out of it as he matures as a player, whether on this level or the next. But sometimes his shot selection is questionable. Sometimes he feels the need. The only way he can get involved in the game is to launch one. And that's not true because his teammates will play with him as long as he moves the ball and moves without it.
Only a freshman out of West Baltimore, Maryland. All-America, all Big East. And Robinson turns it over. That's the 5th turnover for the Tigers in the first half.
When we talked about Auburn, they have to minimize their turnovers. They don't struggle to score, but it's certainly not easy for them, averaging about 71 points a game.
Offensive foul called against Carmelo Anthony. Let's take a look at the Pontiac high performance of the day. Ebi Ara off the bench, folks, 25 points on 11 of 19 shooting, as Oklahoma defeated Butler 65-54. What a performance by that young man from Tulsa.
And he shook that problem that he had in his left wrist, his non-shooting wrist. He decided to come out here and make a difference, and certainly he did.
Syracuse with the 16-7 lead, and Carmelo Anthony, their top scorer, has not put the ball in the basket as of yet. Killingsworth to the basket, and he lowers his shoulder and is called for the offensive foul.
And that's where you need to get the ball against the 2-3 zone, but the guy who receives it has to be able to read the defender. And if the defender is going to come up on you, you got to be able to drive around them, not through them.
6 turnovers for the Tigers, including their last 3 trips down the floor. Warwick puts it on the floor, somehow scoops it up. Here's Anthony. The skip pass to Duaney. And a foul. This one going against the Tigers. It's Nathan Watson, the sophomore from Fort Payne, Alabama.
And that's the thing that makes Carmelo Anthony so tough, and Auburn were very aware of it. At his size, he can take you outside behind the 3 arc. He can put it on the floor in mid-range and certainly post you up.
6'8", 220 pounds. McNamara, count it. Jerry McNamara leading Syracuse on a 9-0 run. He has 7 points. And a whistle out of bounds. Nathan Watson stepping on the line.
Well, good ball movement again. You're going to watch the ball come to Warwick right here. He's going to see wide open. Jerry McNamara, as the defense collapses on him, and G-Mac is G-Money.
Auburn has 4 consecutive turnovers. Wet Delaney. Loose ball. Warwick saves it from going out of bounds. What an athletic play. McNamara. And this time Robinson hauls it in on the sideline. Marquise Daniels, their leading scorer, averages 18 points per game. Syracuse quickly back into the zone. Daniels to the basket with the bump.
Well, we talk about the freshman Carmelo Anthony, but this senior, Marquise Daniels, he's another guy who can hurt you from a number of places on the floor. He now is trying to assume that senior leadership position and help his team, carry his team until they get their feet against this Syracuse zone.
Long rebound picked up by Bird. Here come the Tigers. Daniels finds Robinson, slashing to the bucket. No. Killingsworth is there. Power dribble. Forced it up and draws the foul. Jerry McNamara for Syracuse is off to a great start.
Well, yeah, this is a guy that Jim Boeheim never believed could step in and do the things that he's done. Terrific three-point shooter. He's been able to lead this team as the point guard as well for long stretches of time. Averages about 5 assists a game, 13 points, and again, 35% from beyond the arc. And again, a real leader, a guy who is tough as nails, as gritty as they come. He backs down from no one.
Big East All-Rookie team, honoree. And here comes Billy Edelin into the game, a freshman from Silver Spring, Maryland. As Marco Killingsworth adds the free throw. 11-12 remaining in the first half. Back after this. There's the star of the first game, Ebi Ara from Oklahoma, had 25 points. He watches and tries to figure out who the Sooners will be playing in the second round as Syracuse leads Auburn. Syracuse shooting 40%, but they have 8 transition points.
And that's what they want to do. They want to really push the ball up the floor, look for easy opportunities, and also looking at secondary break for guys like McNamara and Delaney spotting up.
Warwick inside. The rebound going to Robinson. Brandon Robinson. Strong inside. And a foul. No, jump ball. Jeremy McNeil tying up Brandon Robinson, and will stay on this end.
And one of the things Auburn has to recognize is that this is not a passive 2-3 zone. They will double you in the corners when you least expect it.
Marquise Daniels inbounding. (19-11) Syracuse with the lead over Auburn, but the Tigers have settled down a bit and are cutting into the Syracuse lead.
And they've been able to do it again by more patience in the half-court set, moving the ball around, exploring and studying how to 2-3 moves, and then trying to pick the open spots.
Billy Edelin down the lane, finds Warwick, has it taken away, but right back into the hands of Edelin. Quick no-look pass to McNeil, who flushes it.
That time Auburn a little bit too quick. They thought they had to turn over. Guys started running out. And Edelin came up with the ball and made the easy play.
Syracuse gets back into the zone. Marquise Daniels from Orlando, Florida. 18 points a game, and this one thrown away. Edelin tracking it down. Picks it up, knocked out of bounds. Bird getting a hand on it. Let's take a look at the game summary.
Well, you take a look at the score, obviously 8-point difference. The turnovers, we talked about Auburn having to minimize turnovers. They've created too many opportunities, easy ones for Syracuse. Wet Delaney came out hot as the senior, and when he can stroke it, it takes the pressure off McNamara and Anthony. And as we mentioned before, Syracuse 20-1 when Delaney scores in double figures.
Now Pace finds McNeil, jump hook short. Rebounded by Daniels.
Well, I'd like to see McNeil just extend one time and power up instead of making himself small. Big, strong guy with good skills, just has to mentally approach.
And the foul called away from the basketball. Killingsworth picks up his second. For those of you expecting to see Michigan State versus Maryland, we will get you out to that game shortly. Tip time is 10:17. And you've been shaking, Glenn, as a Maryland grad.
I'm going with the music here. The bands are great.
Yeah.
I'm not shaking about anything, guys. We got a good one right here.
21-13. Auburn with 9 turnovers in the first 11 minutes. They only average 15 per game. In and out for Josh Pace.
I get a little nervous when this game is over because I know how much you talk.
Robinson the kick in the corner. That one off the back of the rim for Watson. Here comes Edelin.
And again, here's the push by Syracuse to get down quickly, be able to set up, and not allow the defense to set.
Edelin down the lane, shovels it to Anthony, who has to track it down in the corner. Now Anthony backs his man in. Pace, the floater short.
And that was the second time after that contact with Edelin that Cliff Ellis jumped off the bench. He wants to know why no calls on the contact.
Rejected by McNeil. McNamara down the lane. And a whistle. Let's see.
Auburn foul charge to Marquise Daniels. That's it.
And Marquise Daniels picks up the foul.
Jerry McNamara to the line for Syracuse, shooting 2.
So Jerry McNamara at the free throw line. He has 7 points. And he gets the first one to go. Here's a singular wireless fan poll. Who has been the tournament's most surprising player thus far? Travis Diener, Darnell Archie, Marquise Daniels, or Billy Edelin? Singular wireless users send their vote to 171 or log on to cbssportsline.com/singular. And stay tuned for the results during Singular at the half. Back after this. Under 8 to play in the first half. Syracuse with a 10-point lead. Gus Johnson along with Len Elmore, and Syracuse has done a good job packing it in and forcing turnovers.
Well, they certainly have. The 2-3 zone has been very problematic for Auburn. They've got to find a way to continue to get the ball in the middle. They've got to get it to the short corners and then read the defense. Right now, Syracuse employing some full court pressure, again, to disrupt Auburn. This is a team that turns it over 16 times a game and only scores 71 points a game. So, you know, they've got to get the easy opportunities, and they can't afford to give away opportunities.
Lewis Monroe, a freshman from Madison, Wisconsin. Robinson almost turned it over inside. Davis powers it up. A brick, gets his own rebound. Can't finish. Rejected by McNeil, and McNamara crashing into the Syracuse bench. Trying to save it.
Well, what comfort you have as a defender when you know you have a guy like Jeremy McNeil back there who can be the eraser. Now, Syracuse averages 7 blocks a game, and McNeil has about 3 blocks, a little more than 3 blocks a game himself, among the nation's leaders in shot blocking.
8th all-time leader in block shots at Syracuse, 95 on the season. Nice ball fake. Davis can't finish. Taps around and he slams it down. But they will call that basket interference.
And again, a little bit of frustration. Once again, there's McNeil, gets him way off his feet. Doesn't finish properly, and right there you see the basket obviously in the cylinder.
Kyle Davis, a junior from Blakely, Georgia. Auburn shooting 26%, and they've turned it over 10 times. Edelin.
Kyle Davis, a pretty good shot blocker himself, about 4 blocks per game.
Meanwhile, Josh Pace, he's got an ugly shot, but it's very effective.
He's not impressed with Kyle Davis's 4 blocks per game. He just went right at him.
The winner of this game will take on Oklahoma for a trip to the Final Four. Oklahoma beating Butler behind Ebby Araz, 25 points. Albert into the front court. 25-13 Syracuse, equaling their largest lead. Robinson inside, can't get the bounce.
And that's the place where you're going to get shots and you're going to create opportunities, but you need somebody capable of putting down that 12-footer.
And Anthony dribbles it out of bounds. Third turnover for the Orangemen, and here come a couple of subs. Rodney Tucker entering the game, as well as Marquise Daniels.
You see neither team exactly lighten it up. It's a combination of defense, a combination of a little bit of jitters in this particular game, particularly on the part of Auburn.
Carmelo Anthony, no points in the first half, and he's their leading scorer at 22 per game. There's a full court pressure by Syracuse. Nice pass to Robinson.
And that's the comfort level you have. You could have attacked and challenged Jeremy McNeil, but you think better of it because of his shot blocking capability.
Into the front court, pace to the bucket. Largest lead of the game for Syracuse. 27-13, they're on an 8-0 run. And Auburn is having a hard time getting into their offense. Robinson, long rebound to Edelin. And Edelin's been playing some great basketball.
Oh, he certainly has. Billy Edelin, 17 points a game in 2 tournament games. He's really given Syracuse a lift, and he's done it since he's come back in January.
Warwick with the turnaround jump shot in the paint. 10-0 run for Syracuse. Auburn's missed their last 8 shots. And they are totally confused by this zone. Bird, finally.
And that was actually a nice job. Inside out, defense collapsed on the guy at the high post, and he found some shooters. But you have to turn and face the defense if you're that high post guy to make them react.
Edelin, stop and start, wraps it around McNeil. Blocked from behind by Daniels somehow. Edelin winds up with it and lays it in.
Well, that's what you get when you hang around the offensive glass and you don't run out. You get rewarded.
31-16, Bird straight to the basket. Swatted by McNeil. Here come the Orange. Edelin in transition. Warwick. Count it. Syracuse with their largest lead.
And when you're playing against pressure, you want to test that pressure. And here, Bird fails that test going to Jeremy McNeil. When you have an eraser like that, you take this look right here. Again, clean block, perfect angle. When you got an eraser, it makes your press that much more effective. You feel as though you can gamble. You don't worry about advantage break situation because you got a guy back there who can turn them the other way.
Syracuse now on a 14-3 run. Daniels to the basket, banks it home. 6 points for Marquise Daniels. A young man who's set to graduate in 3.5 years. Sociology major from Orlando, Florida. Played high school ball with Tracy McGrady at Mount Zion Academy. Inside pace, the left-handed floater. McNeil with the rebound, strip. Now Daniels. Monroe sets up and banks it.
Did you hear him call it?
Yes, I heard it. Lewis Monroe banking in a 3.
And that was off a nice pass by Marquise Daniels. Again, you talk about Daniels. It's a great story. Not only graduating in 3.5 years, but he was prevented from registering for class by clearinghouse problems. So he made up the difference and made up the time. Terrific story for a young man.
Edelin called for the offensive foul. Back in a moment. Let's take a look at the Big East Conference. Some of their other teams in the tournament. Well, Pittsburgh got bounced yesterday by Marquette. Notre Dame getting bounced yesterday by Arizona, and Connecticut losing this evening to top-seeded Texas, San Antonio. So Jim Boeheim's Syracuse Orangemen, the remaining Big East school in the NCAAs.
They're carrying the Big East banner right now. Very competitive and close game by UConn, but unfortunately for them, Texas just showing that they are truly entitled to a #1 seed.
Kyle Davis hustling on the play, unable to keep it in bounds. Coming up on singular at the half, Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, and Missouri coach Quinn Snyder will get you updated on all the latest tournament news, plus a live look at the Michigan State-Maryland game. That's all coming up on singular at the half. Inside, Warwick elevates. Rebounded, Anthony rejected. Davis got a hand on it.
We talked about Kyle Davis, 4 blocks a game. Tremendous timing.
Now Daniels the other side. This time Davis pounds it down. And once again, they call basket interference.
But you know what I like about Davis's reaction? Didn't demonstrate, didn't get upset. He's going to come right back at you again. Again, on the shot, Davis on the follow. Difficult to tell from here, but certainly the officials right on the play. No hesitation in the call.
Carmelo Anthony rimming around it out. Rebounded by Daniels.
And as I mentioned about Davis's demeanor, you got to be even-keeled in situations like that. They're going to come your way, but you can't stop going after them.
Daniels down the lane. Tried to flush it. Got his own rebound and sticks it back. That's like one of those moves you used to do at the Rucker League in Harlem years ago.
And then somebody woke me up. But again, we talked about the athleticism of this Auburn team, and Marquise Daniels in particular. These guys now are starting to understand what they need to do against this zone, starting to attack the gaps and going to the basket strong.
Daniels missing the free throw. Auburn as a team shoots 65% from the free throw line, but they're on a 7-0 run. Daniels giving Edelin a lot of room, daring him to step up and shoot that 19-footer.
And Billy Edelin certainly not a three-point shooter, likes to back you down.
Warwick, 15-foot fadeaway, in and out. McNeil with the rebound and the jam with the right hand.
Now, I've seen Syracuse a number of times this year, and I've always said if Jeremy McNeil makes up his mind that he's going to go to the glass with a vengeance, he can hardly be stopped. And that was one of the most powerful, explosive moves I've seen him make all year.
Marquise Daniels on the pivot, and he draws the foul.
Again, a terrific body. He's got athleticism. Wouldn't be a good shot blocker if he didn't. And right here makes room on the glass and finishes with a flourish. There he is again, making that room. That's the most important thing. As an offensive rebounder, you've got to command that space around the rim.
Jeremy McNeil with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks already.
Unfortunately for Jeremy, that last block, he swatted down instead of going straight up, which he normally does.
So McNeil heads to the bench. Clef Twaney back in. Marquise Daniels gets the second. 10 points for Marquise. 10-point lead for the Orange.
And again, Auburn's got to recognize that the natural center in McNeil is not in the game any longer. And that should have a positive effect on them, particularly on the offensive end, and not intimidated going to the basket.
And an offensive foul called on Warwick. He hooked his man as he drove the baseline. Second foul on Hakeem. Jim Boeheim, 27th year at Syracuse, has made 26 postseason appearances, 22 NCAA appearances. And he's led his team to the national championship game twice. In '96, losing to Kentucky. In '87, losing to Indiana on that Keith Smart jump shot.
And right now, he's trying to figure out, as they go into the locker room on the final possession after this one, how to get that momentum back.
Daniels, the soft jump shot, no. Robinson got great position on Warwick and drew the foul.
Obviously, Syracuse has lost that momentum. That's the third foul on Hakeem Warwick. And when you get a team like Auburn now that gains its confidence, utilizing their athleticism and their cohesiveness as a team, they're going to come back on you quickly.
And as pace comes back into the game, and if you're Cliff Ellis with 40.9 to go, you can kind of say to your guys in the locker room, hey, we've taken their best shot, basically, on their home court, and we're still in this game.
Absolutely. 12 turnovers, that's not what Cliff Ellis expected of his team, but what's done is done, yet they're still in this basketball game.
Cliff Ellis in his 9th year at Auburn. Robinson, second free throw is pure.
You mentioned home court. Obviously, this is Albany, this is not Syracuse, and technically it's not their home court, but there's a sea of orange out here, and it's hard to make the difference between Auburn and Syracuse.
McNamara back in. Now Pace off the window, softly and in. 6 points for Josh Pace, sophomore from Griffin, Georgia. Shot clock turned off. Robinson inside, knocked away by Pace. With 7 seconds remaining, McNamara to Anthony. Inside, knocked away, picked up by Watson. He fires it the length of the floor, and that is the end of the first half. With the score, Syracuse 37, Auburn 27.
And Jim Boeheim has got to go back in the locker room and try to get his guys energized again, playing very tentatively.
Now let's go to Solomon Wilcox.
Jim Boeheim, your team shot the ball very well and you played very good in the zone defense. Could you have played any better here in the first half?
We started shooting too many threes. We made our first 2 or 3 threes, and we missed 7 in a row. And we got to get the ball inside a little bit better. Their junk defense at triangle and 2 is keeping us out of our offense. But so far, our defense has been good. We got to get our offense going, though.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back to you, Gus.
All right, 37-27. The score at the end of the first half. We'll send you to Greg Gumbel in New York after these messages. Welcome back, Syracuse with a 10-point lead at halftime. Welcome back, everybody. Gus Johnson along with Len Elmore, and that zone caused Auburn a lot of problems in the first half.
Well, it certainly did. They seemed very perplexed by it, and it affected their numbers. You talk about field goal percentage shooting. Obviously, Syracuse hot behind Jerry McNamara and Queth Duaney. It's the Auburn turnovers against that zone led to 12 Syracuse points. They had them out of sync. And the fast break points, Syracuse wants to play up-tempo, and they've been doing it so far.
Now let's take a look at the Microsoft Agile move.
When you talk about agile move, obviously comes down to Jeremy McNeil with his ability on the offensive glass and the strength underneath.
For Syracuse, Hakeem Warwick, Jerry McNamara, and Queth Duaney all stepping up in that first half.
Well, Queth Duaney particularly got the team started. We talk about senior leadership, came out really smoking. 3 for 3 from the field, long-range jump shots, a slashing move to the basket, and that's what gives the younger players a little bit of confidence to follow that kind of senior leadership.
Duaney ready to inbound the ball. He has McNamara, fourth, Warwick, and Carmelo Anthony, their leading scorer, scoreless in the first half, 0 for 4 from the field. He averages 22 per game.
Well, again, Syracuse has to find a way to get that momentum back. They kind of lost it at the beginning of the first half, and that's a good way to get started in the paint with Hakeem Warwick.
10 points for Warwick, 39-27. Syracuse gets back into the zone. Let's see if Auburn can figure it out a little bit here.
And watch the way Syracuse closes off that guy in the high post. Marquise Daniels was the one before.
Here's Monroe, way off the mark, rebounded and stuck back in by Daniels.
And see, that's why Syracuse has to regain the momentum offensively, because on the defensive end against the zone, you got athletes on Auburn's side who can hit the glass, and they may just throw it up there and go get it.
Carmelo Anthony 0 for 5 now. And the rebound goes to Nathan Watson. Baseline, Killingsworth. Reverse layup denied. Crowd here pretty quiet. Syracuse in complete control of this game from the very beginning. Now Warwick. Dwayne, he sets his feet.
They can sense a momentum change.
Rebound for it to Anthony, and he finally gets his first basket, and that's called a high percentage shot.
Oh, absolutely. You can't get any closer than that, and that's where Carmelo Anthony has to be. When you're not shooting well, particularly outside, you want to get some easy ones, 2 or 3 in a row. Now it makes that jumper fall a little bit easier.
Daniels stepping out on the elbow. Bird across the lane, the kick, Watson. And an offensive foul called against Daniels. Now let's go to Solomon Wilcots.
Well, guys, I talked to Cliff Ellis at halftime, and he said that his team has to be more aggressive in the high post area when attacking that Syracuse zone. He says he wants Marquise Daniel to set up in the high post area, and that's the guy that he expects to have a big half here in the second half of this game.
Well, that high post area against the zone is the trigger area. That's the area you want to be able to turn and start your offense.
Davis with the rebound, so basically right around the free throw line.
Yeah, and that's the guy who can turn, read the middle guy in that back line of the zone and make plays and make shots. But first you got to get it up, and you got to get in good shape, get your offense set against that zone. Auburn, again, having turnover problems.
And that's the 14th turnover of the game for Auburn. They turned it over 13 times in the first half, resulting in 12 Syracuse points off turnovers. Fourth flashing across the top of the key. Now Warwick, quick spin. And a weak side rebound goes to Bird. Bird steps back for 3. Loose ball. Put up and in by Daniels.
And that's what I'm talking about. Against the zone, Auburn is comfortable enough now that if they get a good shot, they're going to take it, and they know they have the athletes to go get it off the glass. And that's what's going to get them back in this ball game if they can string together some stops on the defensive end.
14 points for Marquise Daniels. 10-point lead for the Orange. Anthony really calling for the basketball. Warwick takes the shot too strong.
Well, you saw Auburn fronting and playing behind Anthony, denying him totally, forcing somebody else to beat them.
Watson inside, among the trees, and he draws the foul.
We're going to take a look at the defense on Carmelo Anthony. Now watch, Bird is playing him. He's behind. Now watch Daniel step in front. Now that's a total denial right there. You cannot get him the ball. Warwick's forced to shoot the jumper from an area from which he is not comfortable.
And there's Derek Bird, a tenacious defender. He held Josh Howard from Wake Forest to 4 of 10 shooting and 14 points. Against Georgia this year, he held Jarvis Hayes to 3 of 12 shooting. So he is a gangly senior, 6'4", 195 pounds. Wholesale substitutions coming in the game for Syracuse. Pace, McNeil, Edelin. McNamara stays on the floor. Second free throw for Watson is good. And now McNeil and Kyle Davis were warned by John Clougherty to knock off some of the horseplay in the paint.
I think Jim Boeheim made those substitutions, particularly with Pace and Edelin, to try to get a little more offensive-minded, a little more penetration, and on the defensive end, quicker.
Davis with the block to Watson, and he finishes strong. 4 points for Watson. Timeout Syracuse.
And that's what I meant by a momentum shift.
41-35. Tigers on a run. Syracuse leading 41-35. Our first game of the night. A perfect performance by a young man by the name of Ebi Ara. He had it working from the outside, also able to drive to the basket, scoring 25 points on 11 of 19 shooting as Oklahoma defeated Butler 65-54 to advance to the Elite Eight, and they await the winner of this game. And for Auburn, this is the closest they've been since the score was 13-7 in the first half.
And Gus, you can detect the comfort level that Auburn has now in playing, one, at this pace, and secondly, against that zone. And we mentioned it before. They recognize it's a zone. They've got athletes who can go get it. They're focused on getting the spots and putting it back. And defensively, they're doing a nice job of changing their D. There's that zone mixed with man, kind of a triangle and two.
Pace off the mark. Bird with the rebound. Syracuse 2 for 9 from the field in the second half. And a whistle. Foul in the paint. McNeil clobbering Kyle Davis, his second.
Again, there's the battle right there, the officials. That's a nice act by Kyle Davis.
15:51 to go. Back after this. 15:51 to go in the second half. 41-35. Inside, Davis on the lob from Daniels. And here comes Auburn.
And we told you they have athletes, and now they feel comfortable in just throwing it up there, making the guys trace.
15:35 remaining in the second half. Syracuse with a 41-37 lead. But Auburn, they figured out the zone. They're on an 8-0 run.
And they're playing now a defense where it's man-to-man on Anthony and Jerry McNamara, and playing zone against the rest of the guys. And Syracuse has to figure that out. It's taken away their rhythm.
Syracuse is led by as many as 17. Inside Daniels, he's fouled from behind by Edelin. And a look at the tournament summary. The Big East 8-3, only one Big East team remains though, and it's a Syracuse Orangemen. The number 1 seed's perfect. Big 12 with 3 teams in the Elite Eight. Edelin picking up his second foul. Here's Lewis Monroe in the backcourt as he approaches the 2-3 zone of Syracuse. Auburn using their athleticism to go over the zone, especially Kyle Davis and Marquise Daniels. Here's Daniels, dumps it down. Nice play by Carmelo Anthony.
Not a good read by Daniels. He had a jump shot all the way.
And Anthony knocks down a tray.
Uh-oh, don't want to get him started.
5 points for Carmelo. He was scoreless in the first half, 0 for 4. Inside, Daniels, reverse layup, no. Davis gets it, puts it on the floor, has it taken away. He rips it right back. Daniels off the glass, count it, and the foul.
What hustle by Kyle Davis that time to get on the floor. You lose the ball. Most guys don't get on the floor on the loose balls. But this is effort right here. And then he gets it to Daniels, who muscles it up. And once again, utilizing their athleticism, hanging around the basket, and mixing it with determination.
Daniels with 17 points and 7 rebounds. 6-point lead for Syracuse. Edelin. And he's bumped going to the basket. Syracuse with a 6-point lead. They've led by as many as 17, but Auburn has whittled away at this Syracuse lead.
Well, they've taken away Syracuse's rhythm
as Anthony draws the foul inside.
And they've been able to do it by mixing their defenses, playing that triangle and 2, which has really slowed down the Syracuse attack. They've also started hitting the glass and taking away the fast break opportunities for Syracuse. And on their end, Auburn has been very confident against the 2-3 zone. They've gotten good shots, and when they've missed, they've sent guys to the glass who've connected.
Carmelo Anthony gets the first free throw. Remember, the winner of this game will take on Oklahoma, who defeated Butler in our first game of the night. And we talked about rebounding. Auburn has out-rebounded Syracuse in the second half, 9-2. The lead up to 8. An eternity remaining in this game.
look how spread the 2-3 zone is right now. With no one in the middle, they're able to step out and extend. Now with a guy in the middle, McNamara steps back, but to no avail.
Daniels again inside. 19 points for Marquise. Now McNamara thought about it. Pace inside. Got it over the outstretched arm of Davis and softly lays it in. 10 points for Pace.
And that's a good substitution by Jim Boeheim, giving Pace more time. He's the one guy on that bench that can match the athleticism of Auburn.
All knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Syracuse.
But when you talk about athleticism and determination, the leader for the Auburn Tigers, Marquise Daniels, again with the offensive rebound. And once again, going to get it on that glass. And that's the comfort level Auburn has against this zone. They're willing to take good shots and then go get it. And it's man against man inside that paint.
Daniels so effective as he goes back and forth across the lane. Here he is again to the basket, rejected by McNeil. His third block. Daniels going up soft on that trip. Now Carmelo Anthony has it taken away by Davis.
Boy, how about Kyle Davis right now outdoing Jeremy McNeil on the defensive end with the blocks, keeping it in play, getting his team another possession.
Both players have 3 blocks. Watson straight away, got it. And that'll loosen up that Syracuse zone. 5-point lead for the Orange, 7 points for Nathan Watson.
And again, what gives you confidence is you know you got guys that can put it back. You don't mind taking that shot.
Edelin on the baseline, strip. Daniels, 2-on-2. Between the legs, the fade, got it, and the foul. Marquise Daniels putting on a show in the second half. And the basket will not count.
And Auburn in transition of their own. Right there, nice job between the legs. Gets the fadeaway. Tries to lobby for the made basket, but no avail. I tell you what, you get these guys in transition, Auburn,
Trouble.
it is absolutely trouble because they can jump, they can run, they can handle, they can shoot, and they're smart.
But a great strategic move by Coach Cliff Ellis to start Daniels down low and to have him just float back and forth across the lane. That's his best player. There he is again.
Well, he's got him in the middle of that zone. He's the guy that can make a lot of decisions and make them work.
Here he is, turnaround jump shot high. Off the mark, Warwick with the rebound.
But that was the correct read of that zone. You just got to make the shot.
Warwick working hard and powers it up and in.
Boy, you talk about being able to thread a needle. That's what Akeem Warwick did with that slender body. Made room for himself through defenders.
Daniels again down low. Knocked out of bounds, last touch by the Tigers. Akeem Warwick with 12 points. Syracuse holds on to a 52-45 lead. And a look at the game summary. 52-45 Syracuse. Gus Johnson along with Len Elmore. We'd like to wish Len a happy 51st birthday. And here's our present. We went to the press room and got you a nice assortment of peanuts. It's almost like what you're getting paid for this game. Inside Warren slams it down.
But thank you.
54-45 Syracuse.
And when we looked at those stats, the one thing that jumps out is the advantage on the boards that Auburn now has. And they've been really working the offensive glass, particularly to their advantage.
Top of the key, Bird. Skip past Watson.
See, this is what you call exploration of the zone. Making it shift and then finding an open opportunity.
Very nice stroke by Lewis Monroe. 10:20 to go in the second half, 54-48. The winner to play Oklahoma. Warwick dumps it down. Kicked by Duaney. Recovered by Duaney.
Now Syracuse can't be in too much of a hurry right now. They think they've got some open opportunities, but they're not. Got to make sure of these passes.
Pace, the runner, short. Tapped around and in. Who was it? I think it's Jeremy McNeil.
They call that clean living.
Daniels down the lane. Oh my goodness, double clutched and in.
That time you saw McNeil coming up on him and used McNeil's movement against him. Auburn, much better shot selection, much better connection, 53% from the field in this half.
21 points for Daniels. Now Warwick in the pivot. Just ran right over Daniels, no call, and finally he's raked across the forehead and goes to the floor. A little acting on the part of Marquise Daniels.
Absolutely, that was a flop. But here you're going to take a look. There's the bump right. There's a little bit of contact. Daniels helped it along. But Marquise Daniels, look at the read right there. Sees McNeil coming out on him, blows right by him. Then gets to a point again where he can gather himself on the pump fake and make it happen.
Warwick misses the first. Here comes Robinson in, but I have to reiterate that I believe this has been just a well-officiated basketball tournament. Collectively, the officials have allowed these kids to play. Not a lot of ticky-tack fouls.
And well, they should. I mean, obviously, we know what's riding on these games. And all of these teams want to come in here understanding just how the games are going to be called so they can adjust. And the officials have made it easy. Just play basketball.
7-point lead for Syracuse. Daniels again. Pull-up jump shot in traffic. This kid is percolating now. 23 for Marquise Daniels. He also has 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Warwick spinning. And that is called an offensive foul against Hakeem.
See what's happening right now with Auburn against the 2-3 zone. It's become a one-on-one situation. Watch Daniels get it. He's going to take a look at that man right there. That's his man, one-on-one. And Marquise Daniels can have his way with just about anybody in the country one-on-one. And that's what they've been doing to the zone now, and it's a great job.
And it's just a simple adjustment that's really paying huge dividends for this team.
Well, it's a simple adjustment, and it has to be quick. See, many times people hesitate, and that allows the zone to come back, contract, and make it difficult. Daniels is reading it quickly, making his move, and getting it done.
Bird inside Robinson. He stepped on the baseline. Well, that ball is really moving around the perimeter for Auburn. Their 17th turnover. Now Anthony, guarded by Bird, done a great job on him. Down the lane, pulling up off the dribble, off the heel of the rim. Daniels with his 8th board. Tigers can get even closer. Monroe, stripped from behind and fouled. From player features to coach's movements, hoops expert Dan Wetzel has every angle of the tournament covered. Follow his daily coverage at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. Lewis Monroe at the free throw line, and this freshman point guard has done a terrific job. In the last 4 games, he has 6 turnovers in 122 minutes of play.
Well, you need that type of leadership out there on the floor, especially when you have guys like Daniels, like Killingsworth, that you got to get him the ball. You know, he's the kind of guy that makes things happen, a distributor, and the more you can minimize your turnovers, the more opportunities for those prolific scorers.
Wet Duaney off the dribble, short, loose ball, Anthony's there, and he flushes it. Syracuse is led by as many as 17. They're up 59-53. What's happened in this game?
Well, it's been a case of Auburn finally solving the 2-3 zone using Marquise Daniels as the middleman. He's reading the zone to perfection, and also Auburn hitting the glass. That's allowed them to close the lead. Syracuse ending the first half, coming into the second half, has never regained the rhythm that they had in the beginning of the first half that vaulted them out to that 17-point lead.
Daniels has 23, pays with the offensive rebound, and the soft touch. The winner of this game will take on Oklahoma, who defeated Butler in our first game of the night, 65-54, behind 25 big ones from Evie Arad. Monroe, weak side, Bird, catch and shoot, and hit. A three-pointer. He has 9, 3 threes, 61-58.
And that's the confidence I was talking about Auburn now has. It's just night and day between this point in the game and the first 5 minutes of the game when they seemed like they were totally out of their league.
Anthony, the left hand high off the glass.
Speaking of the league,
Scoreless in the first half. Carmelo has 11. And you can feel the intensity rising here in Albany. Inside, Robinson. Double pumps. Rejected by McNeil, out of bounds. His fourth block.
now see, Robinson's got to know better. The more he hesitates, the quicker it is for McNeil to get over there.
6:12 to go. Let's reset it for you. 6:12 to go. Each team with 3 timeouts. Auburn has the arrow in their favor. What should we look for as we go down the stretch?
Well, I think from Auburn, just more of the same. They want to continue to move the ball against his zone. You know, here's an out-of-bounds play, so they probably got a set play, and if it doesn't work, get it back outside, reset. But to move the ball against the zone, continue to flash Daniels.
Ball tipped out of bounds by McNeil. Daniels, the baseline cutter, was ready to just tomahawk that one down.
Well, that was a good set play.
Marco Killingsworth.
But for the deflection, probably would have had a slam. But again, if you're Auburn, you want to continue to get the ball in Marquise Daniels' hands at the top of the key, along the side, and make him the guy that makes everybody else better.
Shot clock at 9. Bird, pump fake, a 3. Off the mark, high bounce pace, a two-handed rebound. Here's Carmelo Anthony, 11 points, all in the second half. Off the dribble again, and Carmelo is starting to warm up.
And if you're Syracuse, you just got to keep on doing what he's doing. You know, this is going to come down to, again, how successful the 2 big guys for both of these teams can be, the senior Daniels and the freshman Anthony.
Daniels bumped inside and fouled. Carmelo was 0 for 4 in the first half, Lenny. Different story here.
He was quiet, but again, he knows how to play. And when you're not shooting well from the outside, you got to get yourself closer to the basket, get those high percentage shots, because what they do is they make you feel better when you're shooting the long jumpers. You're not feeling as anxious to make some.
A lot of people compare Carmelo Anthony's game to Paul Pierce, who was a star at Kansas, and now a star for the Boston Celtics.
But with all due respect to to Paul Pierce, Carmelo Anthony will back you down and play a post game, something that I don't think Paul Pierce does with too much regularity on the NBA level.
Anthony straight away. Long rebound to Queth Duaney. Anthony again. And this time it's Monroe with the rebound. Weaving his way through traffic, down the lane, and the swooping finger roll.
And that time it was just a question of lack of effort on the defensive end. No one from Syracuse got back, stepped in front of that rim, and that's why Jim Boeheim wants to call a time.
4:44 to go. We've got a 6-point game. Today on CBS, don't miss David Letterman's return to the Late Show with guest Billy Crystal. Monday on CBS, America's Most Watched Network. Let's reset it for you once again. Timeouts. Auburn with 3, Syracuse with 2. And a look at the team fouls.
Warwick enters for Syracuse.
Now McNamara in the backcourt, guarded by Monroe. He's joined by Warwick, Pace, Anthony, and McNeil.
And Syracuse with 18 fouls. Again, that just buoys Auburn's confidence in going to the basket because they know they get fouled, they get into the line.
Here's Warwick. Baseline pull-up, flat and short. Anthony with the rebound and jam.
So that's what I'm talking about. He understands how to play. It's not working for him with regularity on the perimeter, so he's getting to the weak side, doing the dirty work.
Carmelo Anthony with 16 points. Killingsworth inside, no. McNeil with a strong rebound in traffic.
And that's the wrong guy, I think, to have at that top of the key area. Killingsworth not really successful in reading the defense early. You got to have Daniels up there as often as you can.
Anthony, now he backs down Bird. Wants it again. And a foul. And now Anthony and Bird getting a little chippy with each other. Bird not happy that Anthony has had his way with him in the second half, scoring 16.
Well, Bird trying to send a little message. That's what good defenders do when they're getting scored on.
Message received. Let's check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game.
Well, Auburn's improved field goal percentage has very much to do with Marquise Daniels in the middle of that zone and the offensive rebounding.
Get complete tournament stats at CBSSportsLine.com. On America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline. 8-point lead for Syracuse. 3:50 to go in the second half. The winner of this game advances to the Elite Eight, where Oklahoma awaits. They knocked off Butler in our first game of the evening.
Right now, Syracuse in no hurry to get their offense started. They obviously want to shave some time off the clock as well as get Carmelo Anthony, probably their first option, set and let him work. That's been the MO of Syracuse down the stretch. They got a guy like Anthony, they want the ball in his hands.
Now Pace looks over at Coach Boeheim, starts the offense. Down the lane, awkward jump shot, in and out. Killingsworth with the rebound. Here come the Tigers.
I'm a little baffled by that one. I know Josh Pace is playing well, but you got a guy like Anthony and he's going now. You got to get it to him.
Watson for three. Babied it. And a whistle and foul. Killingsworth called for the foul on the weak side. His third. Kyle Davis will come back in.
Now you can look for Auburn to set up that full court pressure, get Davis at the back to be that last line of defense. And they're looking to try to kick this tempo up right now, try to create some turnovers. They need more possessions.
16 fouls against the Tigers. They set up their press. McNamara, Anthony in the backcourt, walking it up the floor. Two freshmen. So cool, so calm, under pressure. Now Anthony wants the ball. He's guarded by Monroe now, and a foul call on Monroe.
And all of that came from Syracuse just looking for Anthony. And the reason why now Auburn is paying that kind of attention to him is because he started to light it up. And when you get a guy like this started, he's going to beat you, as I said, from any place on the floor. We saw it from the perimeter. Now he steps inside on the offensive rebound. And here again, because they pay attention to him, defenders are fighting for position, cause fouls.
Carmelo Anthony with 16.7 rebounds. His 16 all coming in the second half. He misses the free throw and commits a foul, chasing down the rebound. His second. Well, we have two regional finals tomorrow. Tom Green's Marquette Warriors versus Tubby Smith and those Wildcats in the Midwest. And in the West, how about that game? Number 1 Arizona versus second seeded Kansas. Wow, that should be a terrific ball game.
Well, Kansas looking for the payback. Earlier in the year, they went up by about 20 or more against Arizona, only to see the lead melt away and wind up getting beat going away.
Some shining moments last night. You love Nick Collison.
Well, you know, I hear people talking about their players of the year. Some will say T.J. Ford. You know, others have said Dwayne Wade, but Nick Collison's got to be right there. Certainly players of this NCAA tournament.
Marquise Estel for Kentucky with a huge game, 28 points, 68-62. Now Anthony bringing it up the floor. Well, the back. Allow McNamara and Pace to set the tempo, and Watson reaching in, called for the foul. Nathan Watson called for his second.
Well, we talk about Auburn needing possessions, and Cliff Ellis is going to foul them right away. Syracuse a 69% free throw shooting team, and Josh Pace only 55 from the line. So Cliff Ellis, again, looking to create more opportunities, would be willing to trade 2 for 2 or 2 for 3, and he's going to get that opportunity.
This is the front end of the 1-and-1. Syracuse 9 for 12 from the line tonight. Bird for 3. And a whistle and foul. Hakeem Warwick with a push. His 5th, and he will have to leave the game.
And that's an extraordinarily tough break for Syracuse. Probably their best offensive rebounder next to Carmelo Anthony, a pretty good defender and a reliable scorer, somebody they're going to need down the stretch.
So Warwick leaves with 15 points and 4 rebounds.
We're going to take a look right there, the push-off. And the official's right on top of it. Warwick trying to walk his man under the basket, but got caught with that extended arm.
Auburn, 12 of 15 from the line tonight. Brandon Robinson is a 67% free throw shooter. And he gets that one to fall.
See him twisting his body. He must be an English major.
Replacing Josh Pace.
Brandon from Huntsville, Alabama. He's had some big games this season. 25 versus Georgia. He broke the rim of the basket versus Arkansas this year. As he checks out,
Checks in for Auburn.
and Davis replaces him.
A little offense, defense by Cliff Ellis. Davis, very valuable defensive player, but why he's not back? He hustles back right now. And that could have been a situation had Davis stayed back there. Maybe that foul would not have been caused because McNamara had a breakaway.
Monroe called for his second. Don't forget, the winner here will take on Oklahoma on Sunday in the East Regional Final. McNamara, 91% shooter, misses the free throw, but somehow gets his own rebound. They did not block out the shooter.
Man, that was a rare sight. Jerry McNamara missing a free throw, particularly a clutch free throw.
And now, Carmelo Anthony and Bird are getting slapped on the wrist one more time. They continue to go at each other. Frustration setting in for Bird. And Anthony said, hey, don't touch me.
Well, see, Carmelo Anthony's got to be careful because, you know, he can just as easily be called for the foul as well. That was a legitimate guarding position by Bird. Just rested his forearm on Anthony.
Monroe actually called for the foul, his 3rd on Edelin. Misses the second. Daniels hustling and saves it from going out of bounds. 69-64. Daniels has been quiet in the last few minutes. Inside, Robinson in the corner. Bird with a great look. And it's an air ball.
Now, I will never understand how guys turn away 2-footers, opportunity to get fouled, get to the line, and kick it back outside for 3, especially when there's plenty of time left on the clock.
Well, you had Jeremy McNeil standing there. He's blocked 4 shots tonight. That's why he threw it into the corner.
You still got to test them, though. You got to understand how to go to the basket strong, and you got to test it.
Monroe called for his 4th.
That's what the three-point line has done to the game. Passing up layup opportunities for the 3. It's a 5-point game, Gus. Don't look at me like that.
I know if a man has blocked 4 shots, and a couple of them yours, and I get the ball down low, I'm going to look to pass it.
No, I'm going back up.
Well, you're 6'9".
I'm making sure I make contact.
All right. Edelin. Second one good. 71-64.
Remember, I used to be a shot blocker.
I know.
In those situations, the key situation, McNeil will be hesitant to go after you, too.
You were a shot blocker. Watson up top. Got it. That's a three. 1:18 to go. 71-67. They had peach baskets back then, right? (71-67) Syracuse. The game reset. 3 timeouts remaining for the Tigers, 2 for the Orange. Both teams in the double bonus. The possession arrow favors Auburn.
However, Auburn obviously opting for the foul fest type of strategy to create more opportunities for themselves. But Syracuse, pretty good free throw shooting team down the stretch in the last few minutes. Particularly Jerry McNamara, and he's going to be looking to try to get possession every time.
Let's see if the Tigers will just back it off now. And they do. And decide to guard the Orange. McNamara, Duaney in the backcourt.
Well, there are plenty of possessions right now that Auburn can really try to apply tight D without fouling.
1 minute remaining.
You get to a point where you don't want to foul. And I think you've reached that point right now with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Got to play D.
Here's McNamara reversing. 5 to shoot. Anthony to the bucket. Off the back of the rim, and he follows it up and lays it in.
Boy, that's the strength of his game that very few people can duplicate. The ability to leave your feet on the offensive rebound after the miss.
Daniels with the rebound. Monroe again, and he rattles one home. It's a three-pointer. 30.3 to go. 3-point lead for the Cubes.
Syracuse holding on to a 3-point lead, and we talk about, again, persistence, the quick jump. Misses it, still in position to tap it back in. And again, very few guys in this nation on the college basketball level can duplicate that.
Carmelo Anthony giving Syracuse a 3-point lead, and Anthony, all of his points coming in the second half. 18 for Carmelo.
That was a 3-point goal for Lewis Monroe.
But Auburn still in this ball game with 30.3 to go.
Well, obviously there was a question. And you take a look at the foot right there. Clearly, whoops, right there. Clearly, he's got plenty of room. I didn't want to obscure the line. Remember, I messed up the line before. There are 2 lines out here, the pro line and the college line. And Monroe did a great job of recognizing the college line. A lot of guys tonight have taken shots beyond the pro line.
And since Auburn scored their first points, trailing 5-2, this is the closest they've been in this ball game. But they need it back in a hurry. Anthony will inbound on the baseline to Queth Duaney. And Bird fouls him. And Duaney, a 67% free throw shooter. He's one of the guys you want to foul. You want to foul Jeremy McNeil.
But he's not on the floor.
He's not on the floor right now.
Not on the offensive end.
You don't want to foul Jerry McNamara. So here's Queth.
But coming into this game, Queth Duaney, 12 of 17. That's about 71%. Actually, no, it's a little bit better than that.
That's the first one to fall.
In the last minute. And as I say that, I remember I'm a lawyer, not a mathematician. So.
One more coming up. Queth Duaney, a native of the Sudan, gets the second one. 10 points. 75-70. Daniels has to hurry inside, count it. And a timeout called by the Tigers. 27 for Daniels. We have a 3-point game. Tigers out of timeout. Syracuse with 2, each team in the double bonus, and the possession arrow favoring the Tigers. 75-72. Syracuse at one time led by 17 points. But they're holding on for dear life right now. The winner will play Oklahoma on Sunday. Here's Anthony. He can move on the baseline.
And look at the attention.
Oh,
McNamara.
he almost stepped over the line.
Nice job by McNamara to get free right at that last moment.
Ball knocked away, picked up by Duaney, and a foul. Syracuse shaky with the ball on that trip.
And you talked about Anthony falling into bounds. McNamara finally gets open, and then does a nice job here. Duane does, getting rid of it, but he got fouled anyway. But if McNamara doesn't get open in that corner, Anthony steps in bounds.
10 points for Duane, 3 of 3 from the line. He now has 11. Remember, Syracuse is 20-1 when Duane scores in double figures. Second one up and in. No timeouts remaining for the Tigers. Troy Gaines enters the game, a sophomore from Tucson, Arizona. Full court pressure by the Qs. Here's Watson with 10 remaining on the clock, pulls up for 3. And rips it! Holy Toledo! They can't stop the clock. A 2-point game into the front court. Pace all alone. Here's Gaines. Watson again. Got it. But that will do it. That's the ball game. Wait a minute. The two coaches shaking at midcourt. Is it over? Let's see. The officials still feel that there's some time remaining on the clock.
Well, boy, what a valiant effort by Auburn. Just when you think that the game is over, they're still pushing it. Carmelo Anthony's hands in the air and victorious. But there's the shot. Ball goes through. There's 0.4 of a second, maybe 3 left in this ball game.
So they send both teams back to the bench. John Clockerty still taking a look at the replay. Let's look at it one more time.
And watch the shot go through. And then check the game clock. Right there. About 0.4 of a second. And just a tremendous job. Again, perseverance. And that time, the shooter was behind the pro line.
Yes, he was. Nathan Watson.
Take a look right there as the ball goes through. 0.2 there, but when we saw the shot clock, that ball was all the way through. I think the officials, once the ball goes through the hoop, they should give him 0.3, maybe 4. That's my opinion.
One more time.
Now watch when the ball goes through the hoop. If you're trying to get it right there, 0.4 of a second. And again, behind the pro line.
There's 0.3 seconds remaining.
And remember, the rule is at the end of games, the officials are allowed to go to the scorer's table and check the replay. John Clockerty, veteran official.
If I'm Cliff Ellis, I'm fighting for that extra 10th because, again, not a whole heck of a lot you can do except if you get a steal, an open steal, a catch and shoot. All Syracuse has to do is throw it long and somebody just needs to touch it.
But it has to be touched. So Carmelo Anthony will inbound the ball with 0.3 of a second remaining.
Well, right now you just throw it in a crowd. You throw it up in the air, you throw it long, force Auburn to at least jump up and touch it, and just stay away, no foul. That would be devastating if a foul was called.
Here's Anthony on the baseline to Duane, and that'll do it. Syracuse dodges a bullet. After leading by 17, they hold on to win by 1. And the bracket in the East. It will be the top-seeded Oklahoma Sooners versus the third-seeded Orangemen from Syracuse in what basically is a home game for the Orange. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game: Marquise Daniels from Auburn, 27-9. Carmelo Anthony from Syracuse, 18-8. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Carmelo Anthony scoreless in the first half, but you lit him up. 18 points in the second half. What was the thing that got you going?
Well, from the jump, I was trying to be patient and trying to let my team get get off early, so I was just sitting back, just being patient and getting them off. But the second half, they started running that triangle and two, and I started getting on the offensive glass.
And you guys really had to turn up the defense in the second half. You had that 10-point lead. They climbed their way back in it, but in the end, what made the difference for you?
We was patient, and we kept our composure, even though we knew they was hitting shots.
Your thoughts on moving on to face Oklahoma on Sunday?
We just looking forward to play them.
All right, thank you, Carmelo Anthony.
No problem.
Okay. Coach, first of all, you had that 10-point lead. Well, Auburn made the run. Yeah. In the end, what made the difference for you?
We never was safe. We never were safe. The triangle, too, really bothered us. It took Carmelo and Jerry out of the game. Our other guys couldn't find the openings. Hakeem finally got some, and Josh Pace gave us a big lift. The triangle defense, you don't see those too much anymore. And you know, they took our two best players out of the game for a long time. The other guys picked it up. And, you know, Daniels is a terrific player. Auburn's a terrific basketball team. I mean, they deserve to be here. They played us very, very tough, and we're happy to just be moving on.
What can you say about the patience of the freshman, Carmelo Anthony? Scoreless in the first half, but came back, hit 18 points in the second half.
Well, he got back on the boards. You know, they played him with a 6'2" guy in a triangle, and he just got on the boards, and he's going to out-rebound that guy. And he did a great job on the boards, giving himself up and getting to the weak side on the board. And that shows a lot of maturity for a freshman to do that, and not just, you know, get frustrated and be outside. But he's been mature all year long, and we're just happy to have one more shot now to play again.
With such a young team, did you ever think you'd be one game away from playing in the Final Four?
I stopped thinking about that a long time ago. I don't treat these guys as young guys. I treat them as veterans, and they played that way, and I'm just happy to go along for the ride with them.
What are your thoughts on facing number one seed Oklahoma on Sunday?
Oklahoma's as good as any team in the country with Price back now, and they're just a great team. They were Final Four team last year. They got all those key parts back, and the Booker inside. They're very good, a very, very good basketball team, and a real deserving number one seed.
Jim Boeheim, thank you.